now, but Gurudev is very much the same here with us. Thank you so much for joining us. And may I start with the first question, Sri Sri? Really,
Yes,
you are all about India's ancient wisdom and how India can channelize it and capitalize on it. Do you think that in this time we have finally recognized what you perhaps knew all along, that the secret of everything is balance, and that is what India has given to the world, and we've shown it in spades during this lockdown. Would you agree with that?
absolutely, absolutely. India has given this concept of prejudice-free intellect
Yes.
to the world. We have always said, Anu Badra Kratavo Yantu Vishwatomuko. Let knowledge flow to us from all sides.
Right.
So today, what we see in the world is a lot of prejudice, gender prejudice, religious prejudice, and concept prejudice. People hold on to some concept, not ready to re-examine the concepts that they have been raised or they have believed in it. But India had always given this free thinking,
Yes.
always vimarsha. Vimarsha is a word even Lord Krishna used. He told Arjuna, you have to rethink about it, examine what you know, whether it is correct or not. That is something that India has been giving. If you look at the Constitution of America, you can relate that to what our ancient people have already said. That's nothing new for us. Yeah.
And especially the idea of balance. From what I understand, yoga to me means balance of mind, body, soul. Uh, what does it mean to you, Sri Sri? Because that is what is most needed currently.
Correct. Balance of mind. See, our youth today are swinging into two extremes.
Yes.
Either they are very aggressive or they get depressed. Between aggression and depression, our mind is really swinging in such a way that it is destroying the fabric of our society. And here, balance is very much essential. Emotional balance, intellectual, balanced thinking and attitude, balance between sensitivity and sensibility. These are some very important things, that balance of work and life,
Yeah.
This, we have always advocated these things.
Right. And the world somehow seemed to have forgotten this. And we, thanks to people like you, managed to keep it alive. But have we also lost that somewhere? And are we also slowly having to rediscover it?
We cannot generalize that. See, if you see, there are a lot of people who are aware of these things. Of course, there are some who are not. And especially in the field of education, this was lacking in the past, for the past generation at least.
Yes.
But now that is coming back in a big way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guruji, one of your greatest contributions to me has been that you have brought back the playfulness of the spiritual. You're not just about, spirituality being a serious business. And I mean serious and business both, because we do see a lot of gurus as brands as well. But to me, the playfulness that you bring in your spiritual practice is perhaps the most important. Isn't that particularly important in these very dark times?
Yeah, spirituality has to lighten you up.
Yeah.
Yoga should make you like a child again. If it makes you so serious and robs your smile away from you, then it is not yoga at all. It's neither spirituality nor yoga. See, whenever you find you feel very confident, you feel light, if you lighten, then there is smile in you, right? If you're very serious, that means you're not very confident about your own energy, your own strength.
What have been the biggest lessons? Sorry, sir. Just what have been the biggest lessons for you during the lockdown, Sri? What have you learned the most?
You see, lockdown is nothing new for me. I could be within myself any number of time. Navratris, usually I take 3-4 days of silence. I lock myself in. So it has not, in fact, this lockdown has made me even more busier than before. I'm doing everything through webinar, and every day I reach out to millions across the globe. Since I could not honor my commitment to go to those countries, I am doing it on webinars now. Yeah.
So you've been enjoying this period of lockdown without the mon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have been wearing like a monk with a mask all the time, going everywhere. Gurudev, I will ask you one question, because this is an interesting thing. You using your two words. Kaveri introduced balance and you introduced Vimarsha. Vimarsha, as we understand it, dialogue and discussion and whatnot, that is what Vimarsha is. In the modern world, where you have your followers all over the world, these are the two things which are missing. Nobody wants to consult anyone. Nobody wants to be balanced. Even then, how do you make yourself convince them how to maintain balance? Because as you rightly pointed out, aggression and depression, they are contrary to what Vimarsha means or what balance means. How do you tackle these kind of problems?
How to tackle this with people who are into aggression and depression? It takes quite a bit of work. People who have their trust, who have ears to them, they have to reach out to them. One thing, the internet and media has played a very good role here in creating such an awareness. So, when we give a voice to peace, when we give voice to balance, that is heard more today than before because of the outreach that social media and the internet has. No doubt social media has also taken people the other way.
Yeah.
It has taken people towards aggression too. But the same media has also ability to bring them to balance.
Gurudev, I ask a question. This is aggression and depression. I ask a question in a global world, or particularly India, where there is the absence of vimarsha as well as balance in dialogue, in relationships. Then people like you who are teaching all these relevant, it becomes a very difficult task for you. How do you introduce vimarsha in the narrative of the country now at the moment, where nobody wants to talk to anybody?
You are right, Prabhuji. It takes quite a bit of effort, but it is happening slowly. Yeah. We keep talking about vimarsha, we keep talking about dialogue, we keep telling people about they should get out of the prejudice, and it does work.
As a journalist, we feel sometimes that there is no question of balance. In India, anywhere thought process is becoming very imbalanced. You are this side or that side. There is nothing like balance. Do you also feel that is happening all over the world now? Imbalances from New York to New Delhi. There is an imbalance in terms of thinking, in terms of action. Do you also feel the same thing?
Imbalance is not a permanent state. Imbalance is a temporary state. So
but it's there at the moment.
Imbalance happens, people don't feel comfortable. Then they look for comfort. This is how yoga has become popular throughout the world. 2 billion, nearly 1/3 of world's population are crazy about yoga. They are doing yoga. Today, the most watched app in US is meditation app.
No, Guruji, you're right, because yoga, one thing is there very clear. Yoga by nature, physical nature also, is an art of flexibility. How you flexible your body, your thought process. It is the most flexible exercise ever you come across. Yoga is all sorts of asanas and whatnot you do. It reflects the flexibility in terms of your physical exercises. But the thought process in the world is becoming inflexible. Even those who meditate, most of the people who claim they are meditating every day, they are very stubborn.
That could be very few people who are maybe meditating in a wrong way who get stuck. But if anyone is meditating, take it from me, if anyone is flexible physically and meditating regularly, they have got to attend to their mind also. If their mind is not flexible, only body is flexible, that is not yoga according to me.
Right.
For me, yoga is when there is a perfect balance, when mind is as flexible as the body.
Yeah.
And your emotions are as stable as your asanas.
Right.
If you are doing very good postures, but you are emotionally unstable, I don't call them yoga at all.
Srishti, may I ask a question about, you talked about asana, of course, the physical aspect of yoga, we know that. But what the coronavirus has also brought to us is the immunity building, the internal health. And in a way, it's all about the lungs. And what does breathing teach us but to expand our lungs, to expand our consciousness? So has that also actually made yoga even more acceptable? Has there been, an understanding that science and spirituality are really two things that will take the world forward? That you don't have to, that they are not in opposition, they can be together.
Absolutely. I have been saying from day
Yes.
one that they are not opposite. See,
Yeah.
you don't need cash if you're not going to use it in the market.
Right.
You need a credit card only when you want to go for shopping. If you have to stay at home for all the time and not even buy online anything, why do you need anything? Why do you need? So, yoga brings you that inner wealth, your skills. Yoga, see, yoga was taught to Arjuna by Krishna in the battlefield, mind you. He is not teaching to somebody who want to just go in sannyas. Actually, he wants to teach to someone who has to rule the country.
Right.
So here is someone who is teaching yoga in the battlefield. So that yoga karmasu kaushalam, skill in action is yoga.
Right.
So to get that skill in action, in this coronavirus time, what is most needed is, people are anxious.
Yeah.
There is so much anxiety, so much uncertainty. You need inner strength. And meditation and pranayama and kriya, they also boost your immune system. It has been found that meditation, pranayama and kriya, they boost your immune system 5 times more.
Yeah.
Whereas 1 teaspoonful of sugar, white sugar in your chai can bring down your immune system for 2 hours by 50%.
Yeah.
So meditation has that impact on our health that is irrefutable today.
Right.
And that is how the entire Western hemisphere has accepted yoga. It's not for philosophy they have accepted it. They have seen the impact, the benefit of it on the physiological level and psychological level. See, World Health Organization has expressed their concern now. The biggest post-pandemic issue will be mental health.
Yes.
And I tell you, yoga, meditation is the answer. There is no other way to go about for it.
Right.
Yeah.
We talk about the International Day of Yoga, and I think you've made a significant contribution to that, of course. But is there no way that it can actually become part of our everyday curriculum in schools and more part of our everyday life?
Yeah, if you observe a baby from 3 months to 3 years, a baby is a great yoga teacher. Every baby does all the asanas, wherever the baby is from. You don't need a yoga teacher. They do, Shalabhasan, they do Sarvangasan, they do Bhujangasan. You can see them.
Yeah.
doing all Andhanurasana, and they'll hold their legs. So, ये Pavan Muktasan तो पहले ही करते हैं, they pull their toes to put their mouth. So, and then they sleep also in mudras.
Yeah.
If you observe a baby, they sleep in Chinmay mudra. So, मैं 3 महीने से, from 3-year-old to from 3 months to 3 years, if you observe a baby, it can teach you almost all asanas. At least most of them.
So what you're saying is that we should not lose that childlike quality that we have in ourselves. And if we keep that alive, we don't need any curriculum to teach that. But we still need gurus, don't we? We need a GPS system to guide us.
Correct.
So we need people like you.
We can record the child for 3 years and then start implementing that.
But even to tell this, you need a guru.
That will be best-selling video. I think it will go viral immediately.
But Sri,
and with Shri Ji there teaching everybody, okay, look at this child, this posture, and this is what you should do in your life. And that will be the most successful, very viral video all over the world. It's a good
yeah.
good
But Sri, may I also ask, you have been a guru to so many people. Who have you looked up to as a guru in your life?
See, unless you complete your journey, you cannot go on teaching others.
Right.
So for me, from my childhood, this was there in me. But I had a good fortune to be with many great people. So my younger days, I spent with all elderly people. Now, you know, my friends used to tease me, you are spending time with all these 60 plus people, you know, how can you manage with them? Because see, the generation gap is so much. So in my teens, I spent my teenage with all scholarly and elderly people. But now I'm spending most of my time with young people.
Gurudev, you are basically saying that you have been your own teacher throughout the life, observing others and teaching yourself.
No,
like
my teacher Sudhakar Chaturvedi was Mahatma Gandhi's teacher. He was with Mahatma Gandhi for 40 years. And then I was in contact with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, spent a few years in Rishikesh in Switzerland with him. Like this, Anandmayi Ma I have met several times. So my journey in the spirituality was very different. Maharishi Ji invited me to talk on Vedas, and because he knew that I was the youngest who had given few discourses on yoga and meditation. So, and it was very good with him that I could get to know the scientific community there, and you know.
So, have you seen a gradual change in the way the world looks at yoga and the way the world looks at India? Have you seen a rise in respect?
Oh yes, big time. I tell you, in the earlier days, why even I called our whole program Art of Living, because those days when in the West especially, when people thought about yoga, they thought about someone with all ashes on their body, with Rudrakshan standing in one leg in Allahabad. This type of concept was there. They thought it is only for recluse. In the West, 40 years ago, when I started teaching abroad, yoga means there was some allergy at that time.
It was thought as a Hindu way of life. It's basically part of Hinduism. It was thought as that much, isn't it?
Yeah, not even that. Even Hindus were not very much familiar with yoga in those days. Our country, yoga was not that popular. They thought it is yoga karega to jogi banoge. This was the concept. But then slowly it started changing. And so we said Art of Living. Then people became curious to know what it is. When they came, they would learn yoga, they would learn meditation, they would learn pranayama. Then it became, more acceptable in the mainstream today.
Do you feel that somewhere spirituality has, however, become a bit of a business in India? And that's not necessarily something that you approve of?
See, I wouldn't say that spirituality has become a business. A part of spirituality is service activity. Without service activity, I don't consider any spirituality is complete. And service activity cannot happen from an empty bowl. See, if you have to feed 30,000 people, you should have some revenue, right? So this is a part of, finance or income is part of any spiritual activity.
Because basically you are saying that spirituality, if you have to tell it to the people, make it acceptable worldwide or more people, you need some certain resources. Therefore, is it correct to say that most of the yoga gurus in India are now merchandising everything, and so that get the extra revenue? Instead of getting from disciples, they are getting from the disciples.
Merchandising, there is a difference. Merchandising means you can get it only if you have money. That is merchandising. Here it is not the case. Like we are teaching free programs in the villages, in the slums. We are doing courses in the prisons for free. You don't get anything by teaching 8 lakh prisoners in the prisons. So it cannot be called entirely as merchandising, but definitely a portion of it or an aspect of finances or resources is attached to yoga. See, yoga is a $32 billion industry in America. And I find there is nothing wrong in we also encashing on it. Otherwise, we will leave it to others to encash.
So it has to become an industry in India as well, yoga as an industry.
It is already,
in what forms?
It should become more, yeah. And it
in what
should
forms?
not be looked down upon. What we have a problem is anything commercial means वो निकम्मा लगता हमको, वो निकृष्ट लगता, हमको लगता है ये अच्छा नहीं है. ये दृष्टिकोण हमें बदलना पड़ेगा.
As you rightly said, it's a service industry basically. Yoga is a service industry.
Yeah.
How it can become a big industry? $32 billion is a big market in US, but here you don't have that kind of revenue from here. Though we are the source, we are the mother and father of yoga, in fact.
See, we have not owned yoga worldwide. We need to do that.
Yeah.
That is why recently we have started this, India government has started more, Ayush Ministry has started owning it. Before this, yoga was not owned by India.
Yeah, Prime Minister Modi made it more popular by starting Yoga Day.
Definitely. International Yoga Day has contributed to establishing our more say in the field of yoga.
Sri, may I ask you, during this period especially, your disciples who come to you, have they come to you with specific issues? Are the issues different from, shall we say, peacetime? Are they of a different nature?
Oh yeah. Every day I'm counseling so many people, and also my teachers are counseling many suicidal tendencies.
Yeah.
Many, I tell you. And depression. Many people are coming for depression and gharelu jagale, domestic fights. And meditation is helping them a lot. Yeah,
Right.
Definitely.
Is there no way that the Western form of medicine and what we do, which is called the Eastern or Oriental, whatever you want to call it, is there no way that there can be a happy mix of the two, and we can actually start a new mental health program for the country and the world, actually?
Absolutely. We should have a holistic approach.
Yeah.
Already we are working like this in America. We are working with many institutions and many colleges there. Even, about 53 universities in America have taken a program for credit there.
Right.
Our S Plus program for youth. So because they find it very useful. Here also, AICT, we have introduced our pranayama meditation for all engineering students, first year engineering in their induction program itself, because they found tremendous benefit on the, for the engineering students.
Right.
So yes, we have to do this even more. I agree with you. In India, we are a little bit behind. We have to think on a holistic methodology where we have yoga, we have Ayurveda, and we have allopathy.
Yes.
All three things together. Yes.
Kaveri, I got a couple of questions which are coming there.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
First question, Shri Shiv ji, Gurudev, मैं आपके लिए है. There are lots of westernized yoga studios that are peddling various forms of yoga with loud music and dance forms. Is this actually useful?
The music is good with yoga, music is okay, but they have started beer yoga and all sorts of
Dog
things.
yoga. Dog yoga. What is
Do you
your view
approve?
on dog yoga, sir?
No,
Do you
all
approve?
these, it's all
Do
the
you-
gimmicks of people who want to encash where the people's interests are there, you know. This
Another
is
question.
exact commercialization.
Okay, this is a commercialization. Okay. The other question which has come from a young person, if we eat traditional Indian food over fast food, will it help build our immunity?
Yes, we have to look into it. Just because something is traditional, you can't say it is very good. देखिए हम भी तली हुई बहुत सी चीजें ऐसे खाते हैं. We eat lot of fried food, and we have, you know, very bad nutritional menu that we usually follow. आलू, रोटी और चावल, तीनों के तीनों कार्बोहाइड्रेट हैं. And फिर we keep expanding our Madhya Pradesh.
There is another question. Lots of people are suffering from depression and social loneliness. What is the answer to this, to beat this?
Exactly, for depression and anxiety, I would tell them to do meditation and Sudarshan Kriya. Sudarshan Kriya has been found the best antidepressant by NIMHANS, National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. They found that this does the same work as an antidepressant tablets. So, and Sudarshan Kriya kare, meditation kare, yoga. If they practice these three things, I think they can get over it very soon, in days, even in weeks.
Sudarshan Kriya is, of course, your invention. And have you taken a copyright on it or not? Nobody can copy it and sell it otherwise.
No, hey, copyright माने है, otherwise somebody else was
Intellectual
going
property
to
right,
take it.
IPR होना चाहिए ना इसके ऊपर.
Yeah. Someone else was going to take it, so we took it before that.
Yeah.
Other philosophical question which has come, is the coming of coronavirus a cycle of life?
Coming up? Can you repeat it?
Coronavirus is a cycle of life. Every 100 years something comes. Is it like that or not?
Well, it's
Pandemic-
a man-made disaster. I wouldn't call it a natural disaster. If it's a natural disaster, it would have been there from long time. If something is a man-made disaster, then, you know, I don't think its life will also be for too long.
It has been there for 4 months now. We don't know what is going to end.
Yeah, I don't think it will be forever, but it's not a natural thing, it's an artificially man-made disaster. That's what I believe.
Shirji, I want to go back to that. You were saying it is service industry and whatever, going back to that. What I'm seeing now, most of the yoga gurus, not that they want it, they are much more popular. I see their proximity with the ruling establishment is much more conspicuous now. You are seeing more, okay, current establishment.
Prabhuji, your question is not audible.
I'm saying that what I'm looking at is that all the yoga gurus, they are very popular throughout the world. but do they need some kind of political proximity because they have seen more with the political leader ruling party now than they were ever before? It was because the earlier dispensation, they were not acceptable, or now they are more acceptable?
Yeah, see, for anything to grow, you need support of the state. If yoga received the support of state earlier, it could have perhaps covered even more part of the globe. But this support for yoga from the, and recognition of yoga from the state is very crucial. It's not politics, but support is essential. Then it gives authenticity to a sort of recognition to it. See, even religions are recognized in various countries as state supports those religions. Here, I'm saying we are secular state, but we must support spiritual aspect because that is the wealth of this country. If the state doesn't come forward to support the spirituality, then anyway spirituality will become popular in the world. But it's better for our own state that you get some, it gets that support much needed. राजाश्री जिसको कहते हैं.
आपको लगता है कि इस सरकार में, मोदी जी की सरकार के अंदर, recognition of yoga and everything along with it is getting much more recognition than it was in the previous regimes?
देखिए, Ayurveda, as far as Ayurveda is concerned, I would say, see, Chinese medicine is an offshoot of Ayurveda. When Bodhidharma went to China, he took Ayurveda also. Today, Chinese medicine has life insurance coverage in America, in Europe. It is accepted as a medicinal system, but not Ayurveda. Why? Because we ourselves has not recognized our own medicinal system, which is 5,000 years old, which has less side effect. In fact, the medical tourism in India is for Ayurveda only.
Yeah.
So when we recognize this through the ministry, a separate ministry, then the ministry can talk to people abroad, negotiate with them, so the benefit of herbal medicine can reach the world population.
My question was very specific, that मोदी जी के राज में आप लोग ज़्यादा एकदम, आप लोगों की रिकॉग्निशन ज़्यादा है, उनको समझ में आया कि योगा और आयुर्वेदा बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि आप लोग पहले इतने नजदीक पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स के नहीं होते थे जितने आज दिखाई देते हैं दोनों तरफ से. Is it because of unity of thought?
I think it's because of the leadership understands the value of these ancient methods. The leadership understood how yoga is popular all over the world, how we can really ride on it, how Ayurveda is beneficial for the nation, and why we should recognize it. I think it's the view of the leadership, and they have paid a lot of attention. Modi ji has created a separate ministry for that need to be lauded. Otherwise, हमारे यहाँ तो आयुर्वेद को पूछने वाले ही नहीं थे. Though it was just a part of the health ministry, but they were totally ignored, actually.
एक क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछना जी. Now in your 65 years of age, what kind of challenges, most difficult challenges you faced to come to this level, and how do you resolve them?
I have faced many challenges. वो सब बताते जब किताब ही लिख सकते हैं.
नहीं, आप छोटे से कविता सुना दीजिए, किताब मत लिखिए, बता दीजिए, ताकि जनता जो आपके फॉलोअर्स हैं, हम काफी सारे वर्ल्ड वाइड, they must know this was the challenge which Shri Shri faced and he came out of it, so that they also learn something which they don't know yet.
हमारा तो बहुत से ऐसे challenges है. एक तो हमारा वर्ल्ड कल्चर फेस्टिवल का ही एक चैलेंज था. दिल्ली में इतना बड़ा आयोजन, 7 एकड़ स्टेज में 40,000 लोगों को एक साथ, विदाउट प्रैक्टिस, विदाउट रिहर्सल, they had to come on the day of the performance and play there. And that was a challenge. We had the whole training done online. Visually, वो होता है ना, by computer from Japan to South America, we had to coordinate this whole issue. And then nearly 100 185 dignitaries and heads of state from all over the world were coming here. And then some NGO starts saying we are polluting the river Jamuna, which is already polluted. And then they put a challenge that, we didn't know how it was before, but now it is destroyed. How can you say something is destroyed if you don't know the state of it before? And when there were no rules were made for environmental at that time, then you cannot say you have violated the rule. What is the rule you have violated which was not even formed? These were big challenges at those days. But we had the program, one of the biggest program. Acha, isme ek aur very important secret thing I can share with you.
Yeah.
At that time, the president of Zimbabwe, Mugabe, Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe, he called us on the 9th of March that I am coming on the 10th to participate in the program with you. I'm coming on a plane with 40 of my ministers, everybody, to organize my stay, everything in the hotel. No, everybody came and they had their own stay, they organized everything. Here, the head of the state is calling us, I'm coming. No, we invited all the heads of state, but we never expected Mugabe to come. And not only, he announced in the media, I am coming to the World Culture Festival.
Yeah.
It created so much furore in whole of Europe, and our centers got call from all the local parliamentarians and heads of state of Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, Scandinavia says, if this man is coming, we are not coming.
Ooh.
And European Parliament members were cancelling their tickets because he is coming. He said, we cannot stay, and we advise Gurudev also to not share stage with him. So, ab kya kare? It was a earthquake, a tsunami chad gaya sabji. Suddenly, everybody was dropping out. It would be only India-Africa Cultural Festival, not World Culture Festival. Then I had to call Mr. Mugabe. Meanwhile, what had happened here, some Congress people had persuaded our President Pranab Mukherjee to not to go because they have put some cases on him. So, they didn't want this credit to go to current Modi government, so they were trying to put all sorts of publicity for this. So, but that worked very, very good for me, President not coming. So I called Mugabe, see, it is not to your dignity, because our host country president won't be there. So if you come, it will be not up to your protocol. So why not we have some other time when our president is free, because he is held up with some very important work. He could not come. So what do you say? So we talked to him in that tone. Because then at that time, Jaishankar ji, our current minister, was here, was in the foreign secretary. I told him, he said, yeah, this is a big challenge. Gurudev, we have to find a way. And Vikas was also there.
He was joint secretary.
Yeah.
Vikas Swarup, उन्होंने भी कहा, Gurudev, this is a very big difficulty. How are you going to handle it? Because when he is coming, we cannot refuse. We have to give him everything. Then I said, no, I will do something. So I called him in the morning. I told him, look, this may not be of your status. There are some issues here, and it seems to be rainy day also. So, Your Excellency, we would like to plan another event for you with our president. So it matches the protocol. I said, Sri Lankan president is also not coming. Nepali president is also not coming. So we are doing like this. What do we do? So then he said, okay. Then he diverted his plane. Instead of coming to India, then he went to Bali, took a rest.
So Shri Shri
And
became diplomat also.
So
Shri Shri
she
became
is a
diplomat.
diplomat as well.
Then all these people who had cancelled their tickets, they reinstated tickets. The Vice President of European Parliament and the Cultural Minister of Norway and Sweden, and all these places, all these people, Europeans and Americans, they reinstated. Only the Norwegian Prime Minister who was to come, she couldn't change, he couldn't change at that time. They were very sorry about it because they had cancelled, they could not reinstate. But everyone else came and we had a wonderful culture festival. In the middle of all the storm. And then people were going, trying to say, oh, yahan garbage kar diya, yahan garbage kar diya. Jamuna mein koi garbage nahi dala gaya hai. In fact, it was stinking so much. It was stinking so much in those days. But the main thing was, see, we had not lost our cool. You would have seen, people asked me, how come you are smiling in spite of all these challenges? Big challenges. So we said that is the power of spirituality. That is the power, strength of Atmagyan.
And
So
balance.
Atmagyan bina sab jhoota. Kya kaha ba kya kaha. So bilkul
That's the
sahi.
balance, art of balance also.
Yes.
Correct.
Interesting.
Thank you very much. Prabhuji, would you like to ask any more
No,
questions?
I think that is after that it will become a little
Yeah.
more philosophical. It's an interesting thing.
Thank you very much.
much.
Thank you very much, Sri Sri. And that's why one should do Sudarshan Kriya, to keep smiling like you and to learn the art of happiness. Thank you very much.